Yeah, for sure. So, I've been running for a very long time now. I started in high school and I was fortunate enough to be on a pretty high performing high school team here in New York on Long Island. And I was recruited to run in college and I got to run Division 1 at the University at Albany. Um, I did not have the 4-year career that I think everybody hopes to have when they are a D1 athlete, but I also think that's pretty common for a lot of people in this sport who go into college with super high aspirations. I spent most of my 4 years at UAlbany stuck on a stationary bike. I was chronically injured on and off for a very long time. And a lot of that went into my time after college. So there were a couple of times when I graduated, I tried to get back into running, but I just did not have the health or the right guidance to do it successfully. So it took me a long time to get back into the sport. And about 2.5 years ago, so around 28 years old, I decided to try it again. And I've had a lot of success in the last 2 years and have been able to run 3 marathons and qualify for the Olympic trials and run a PR in just about anything, everything, all of my distances. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey to get to this point, but I'm super grateful to have made the decision to try again at a later
Yeah,
age.
absolutely. There's so many cool things about your story that I hope we get into. And before we really talk about the OTQ and the 235 and you ran McKirdy, what was it like coming back to running? Because we talked a little bit before, and for anybody who's like pays attention to you on social media, you've talked about the struggles you've had, injuries, eating disorders, like that. Like it's super brave and scary to come back to something that like destroyed you more or less, right? And so, what was that process like of being brave and bold and deliberate and going like, not only am I going to come back to running, but I'm going to go to the marathon as an oft injured runner and try to go TQ. Like, I just have massive applause and praise for you on that. But what was that journey like?
it it kind of steamrolled into different things as it went. It didn't start off when I came back as I'm going to try and become an elite distance runner again. It started off as I want to get back into running and I want to be able to run healthy. So I told everybody in my life I wanted to run. And naturally, everybody was pretty concerned because they knew what had happened and the different on and off struggles I have had with it. So I decided to try doing it recreationally for a couple of months and then I decided to sign up for a 5K and everybody in my life knew what that meant. They were like, "Okay, here we go. Strap in. This is going to be a long ride." So it kind of went from one thing to the next. I did a 10K and then after the 10K, I had run it healthfully and I was like, "Okay, I really want to sign up for a marathon. And no, I don't really have the base level running right now to like say that I can do this and do this well. But I want to try and I just want to try and run one and get to the starting line healthy and finish it in one piece." So that's kind of where that decision came from. It was a dream that I had had for a couple of years, especially after seeing so many women in the states hit the trial standard in for the 2020 cycle. When here in the U.S. it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to be one of those people. But then they dropped the standard down to 2:37 and I still wanted to do it. I just didn't know how long something like that was going to take. So I didn't go into my first marathon thinking that, okay, like I'm going to try and shoot as close to the OTQ as possible. It really was just to run it and be a marathoner. That was the focus. And I think going into something like that with that type of a mindset was super important because I think if I had gone into it being like, I'm going to run a certain time, it maybe could have become a little bit more toxic, but it really, the first one I did was just for the love of it and wanting to get that experience and being able to say I was a marathoner. And then from there, obviously when you run a 240 on your first one, kind of turned into something that I wasn't expecting. But I'm very grateful for every step that I've had along this journey, even the bad ones. So